Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. Here are the top stories. SST exemption for apples and oranges, says PM. And Cyberjaya student murder, investigations underway to track down suspect. Good morning. Imported apples and oranges will be exempt from the upcoming expansion of the Sales and Services Tax, or SST, which takes effect next month. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim after taking into account public feedback.
Tapi tak apalah, oleh kerana ramai mengeluh, okey. Jadi semalam kita beri kelonggaran import buah-buahan. Memang ada sedikit cukai, tetapi dikecualikan apple dan orange.
Prior to this, the government announced that the SST would be expanded from July 1st to cover several selected goods, including imported fruits. Anwar also said the government has agreed to raise the income threshold for small enterprises and micro traders from 500,000 to 1 million ringgit. This is to ensure that small businesses are not adversely affected by any tax expansions.
Kemudian katanya threshold untuk peniaga-peniaga kecil. Katanya 500,000 terlalu rendah. Maka kita naikkan 1 juta. Because yang kita nak, rakyat mesti sokong langkah ini.
He said further details on the matter will be announced later. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister wants the Kotam Madani project to serve as a pioneering model for the country's future urban development. He emphasised that the integrated project is more than just a large-scale development. It embodies the concept of a smart city that is both people-centric and environmentally sustainable. According to Anwar, the project, which has been designed with the integration of artificial intelligence, smart digital infrastructure and green mobility systems, should be a model to develop other cities. He stressed that urban planning should not be determined solely by developers, but must instead be guided by a comprehensive and inclusive approach for the people's well-being.
Saya minta balik pembandaran, kerajaan-kerajaan negeri, lihat apa yang boleh kita lakukan. Jangan hanya tunduk kepada pemaju. Kita yang merancang. Pemaju itu hanya langkah untuk memberikan pandangan perbaiki. Jangan projek itu ditentukan oleh syarikat semata-mata dan pemaju.
Anwar said this when launching the Kotam Madani Urban Development Project in Precinct 19, Putrajaya on Thursday. He also reminded developers that they should not focus solely on profit but must prioritise meeting the needs of the people. The 4 billion ringgit Kotam Madani project is being developed through a public-private partnership. It will comprise 10,000 high-density residential units capable of accommodating over 30,000 residents and include various facilities such as vertical schools. The first phase is expected to be completed by the 4th quarter of 2027. At the same event, Anwar also reminded elected representatives to consistently engage with the people and not to go to the ground only when elections are approaching.
Saya tidak mahu umpamanya pergi hanya 2 bulan sebelum pilihan raya. Kerana 2 bulan sebelum pilihan raya, semua orang politik akan cium baby, akan jalan ke warung, akan tanya khabar di rumah. Saya kena hentikan budaya itu.
He added that since taking the helm of the Madani government, he has personally gone to the ground every Friday to connect with the people before performing Friday prayers. At a separate event, Anwar questioned the double standards of certain parties who criticised the discharge not amounting to acquittal or DNAA rulings granted by the courts. He noted that while these individuals often champion judicial independence, they continue to criticise court decisions as though expecting the executive to intervene.
What do you want? You want me to be a dictator? By asking the judges to adjudicate based on your personal views, or leave it to the courts to decide? Some I agree, some I disagree. Yeah, some I utterly disagree. But then that's what independence of the judiciary is about. That the executive has its powers, but they also its limit.
Anwar said this in his speech at the ASEAN Madani Leadership Programme 2025 in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. He also criticised what he called the hypocrisy of some individuals who focused only on certain figures when raising concerns about corruption. While they acknowledged that billions had been misappropriated, Anwar said these critics gave no support to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission's efforts to carry out their investigations. The government has decided to widen the role of the National Scam Response Centre or NSRC to cover all forms of cybercrimes. The Prime Minister said the move was prompted by growing concerns over the surge in online fraud cases in recent years. In a social media post on Thursday, Anwar said the decision was made during a special meeting of the National Cybersecurity Committee, which he had chaired earlier. He revealed that nearly 4.7 billion online scam attempts have been recorded since 2022, calling for firm and coordinated action to address the alarming figure. In tackling the issue, Anwar stressed that the NSRC will be strengthened through interagency coordination, the integration of local expertise and increased manpower. A 24-hour response network will also be established and fully deployed across various government agencies to combat the issue effectively. In a separate social media post, the Prime Minister called on Muslims in Malaysia to build a Madani Ummah, a community that is peaceful, inclusive, virtuous and grounded in Islamic values. Delivering his Ma'al Hijrah message, Anwar reminded Muslims that Hijrah is not merely a physical migration, but a journey of renewal. He also urged Muslims to usher in the Islamic New Year by advancing with knowledge, integrity and a spirit of unity. The number of applications to the Technical and Vocational Education and Training or TVET institutions for the July 2025 intake have increased to almost 190,000, exceeding the initial target of 150,000. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the remarkable rise reflects growing public confidence in technical education, which is being positioned as a key pillar in Malaysia's national development strategy. Zahid, who is also the National TVET Council Chairman, revealed that last year there were only 5,000 applications to TVET institutions, but this year the number has jumped to 189,304.
Dan bagi pelajar-pelajar yang mempunyai STPM yang tidak dapat masuk ke mana-mana universiti disebabkan oleh tempat penuh, ya. Kita ingin menawarkan MTUN, Malaysian Technical University Networks. Ada 6 universiti, terutamanya yang di bawah KKDW.
He said this after launching an event in Cyberjaya, Selangor on Thursday. He added that Sijil Tinggi Persekolahan Malaysia (STPM) leavers with good academic results may also apply for foundation programs at either University Kuala Lumpur and University Polytechnic Malaysia. The country has been shaken by the murder of a 20-year-old female university student, sparking concerns over the safety of off-campus student accommodations. Sepang Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Nur Hizam Bahaman, when contacted, said investigations are actively underway to track down the suspect involved in the murder. Authorities have ruled out any element of sexual assault and have classified the case as murder. Manisha Priyat Kaur Akara was found dead early Tuesday morning in her rented condominium unit, which had been arranged by University of Cyberjaya. The victim's body was sent to the forensic unit of Serdang Hospital, where a post-mortem examination confirmed that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. An official statement is expected to be issued on Friday.
Tengah trace down yang suspek. Tunggu besok.
Earlier, Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan said police have obtained CCTV footage to help identify the suspect. Investigations at the scene also found no signs of forced entry into the victim's residence. Police said the victim's ATM card, laptop, mobile phone and cash were among the valuables reported missing. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Meanwhile, the Higher Education Ministry reminded all public and private higher education institutions to strictly adhere to their respective standard operating procedures or SOPs to ensure the safety and welfare of students. In a statement on Thursday, the ministry said consistent enforcement of safety protocols is essential to provide comprehensive protection for students under the responsibility of each institution. The ministry reiterated its commitment to working with all stakeholders to maintain universities as safe, conducive and accountable spaces for student well-being. The ministry also said it is awaiting the full investigation report on the murder case and urged the public not to speculate on the incident to avoid interfering with the probe or upsetting those involved. Now, the University of Cyberjaya has pledged to tighten security SOPs on campus and at its residential facilities after the death of a student in a shared condominium unit provided by the institution. In a statement issued on Thursday, the university said it is working closely with security experts to strengthen safety procedures in addition to the existing measures already in place. It assured that the safety of students, their families and the surrounding community remains its utmost priority. The university said it is giving its full cooperation with the authorities to ensure a thorough and timely investigation. It also expressed deep sorrow over the incident and extended its condolences to the student's family and the wider university community. Meanwhile, checks at the victim's condominium earlier found the situation to be calm and under control. Residents interviewed said they only became aware of the incident through media reports. Many expressed shock over the tragedy and raised concerns about the inadequate security measures in the area. It was also alleged that security guards had failed to properly screen visitors entering and leaving the premises. The government will implement the targeted RON95 fuel subsidy in phases this year while carefully considering the most suitable approach to avoid burdening Malaysians. Second Finance Minister Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan, who confirmed the matter on Thursday, however said that the implementation mechanism is still being finalised.
Tapi dari segi dasarnya, Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri pun berkata kita tidak akan mengenakan tahap yang tinggi kerana kita nak kebanyakan rakyat Malaysia tak akan kena impact daripada RON 95.
Commenting on the mechanism on the subsidy rationalisation, Amir said it is still being refined and has yet to be presented to the Cabinet.
Buat masa sekarang kita masih membuat reka bentuk mekanismenya dan Kabinet akan berbincang bila kita dah sedia apakah tahap yang kita bagi.
He said this after launching the Budget 2025 initiative by SME Bank in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. At the event, Amir also addressed the ongoing conflict in West Asia, noting that its impact on Malaysia is expected to be limited to the short term. Malaysia has formed a special committee to spearhead the country's response to the European Union Deforestation Free Products Regulation, or EUDR. The committee aims to ensure continued access to the European Union market and strengthen sustainability compliance across key export sectors. The committee, chaired by Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani, comprises representatives from his ministry, the Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability Ministry, as well as the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry. The committee, whose main focus is to secure Malaysia's classification as a low-risk country under the EUDR framework, held its first meeting in Putrajaya on Thursday. Focus points also include strengthening national traceability systems and ensuring the provision of credible forest data to the Global Forest Resources Assessment by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The committee will act as a channel for Malaysia's engagement with the European Commission, including the submission of official data sets and participation in technical exchanges. The initiative reflects Malaysia's commitment to sustainability across key commodities, which generated 186 billion ringgit in global export value in 2024. The dollar sank to a 3-year low, while world stocks notched their second record high in 3 days on Thursday as a report that US President Donald Trump was planning to choose the next Federal Reserve chief early fueled fresh bets on US rate cuts. Dollar selling persisted after it was reported that Trump is considering replacing Fed Chair Jerome Powell before his term ends next May. The region's flagship stock 600 index was up 0.2% on the day, while MSCI's record high world stocks benchmark was up 0.4%, leaving it almost 8% ahead for the year. Meanwhile, the euro jumped 0.6% to $1.173, its strongest since 2021. Overnight in Asia, Tokyo's Nikkei jumped 1.65% to its highest level since January, while MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan finished slightly higher too. Singaporeans among 4 charged with drug trafficking. The details after this breather.
Karnival Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nanas Malaysia akan ke Johor Bahru untuk warga selatan di Padang B Angsana Johor Bahru Mall 27 hingga 29 Jun ini. Dan jangan lupa meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia di booth Lembaga Perindustrian Nanas Malaysia. Ada banyak aktiviti, hadiah, selawat perdana, penampilan selebriti dan jualan lebih 50 produk berasaskan nanas oleh usahawan tempatan. Jom meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia. Nanas kita, kebanggaan negara.
Kerja kita belum selesai.
Top 5 Carta Muzik 40 minggu ini.
Peningnya, kecil ke besar, besar ke kecil? Mestilah I nak yang besar.
Persoalannya, saiz apa yang puas?
Mestilah saiz 65 inci. Lagi besar, lagi layan.
Juara! Wow! Lagi layan tengok tonton dekat smart TV besar. 99 sen je.
Lagi besar skrin, lagi puas stream. Layan tonton di smart TV, repeat sampai pagi.
Welcome back. Companies operating commercial vehicles have been criticised for attempting to evade payment of thousands of outstanding summonses by claiming they were issued to the drivers. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said as the legitimate permit holders, the owners are responsible for settling any summonses issued. Loke stressed that companies must take a more active role in managing their drivers responsibly to ensure that such offences do not recur.
Permit kenderaan bukan diberikan kepada pemandu. Jadi apabila kenderaan itu disaman, pemilik kenderaan, pemilik permit ada tanggungjawab dia. Jadi bagi saya itu adalah urusan dalaman mereka bagaimana nak uruskan pemandu-pemandu itu.
He also instructed the Road Transport Department and Land Public Transport Agency to be more aggressive in its enforcement and to monitor companies or drivers who are repeat offenders. Loke said this in response to KDEB Waste Management Sdn Bhd's denial of responsibility for the more than 22,000 summonses issued against its vehicles. Its managing director Ramli Tahir claimed that more than 12,000 summonses have been settled, while the remaining active summonses are partly due to lorry drivers concealing them. The Attorney General's Chambers has filed a notice of appeal against the Court of Appeal's decision to acquit and discharge Muar Member of Parliament Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman of all 4 criminal charges linked to funds belonging to Bersatu's youth wing, Armada. The AGC emphasised that the appeal process is part of the judicial system which allows for the review of lower court decisions. In a statement on Thursday, the AGC said the appeal was filed after a thorough review of the appellate court's decision, which overturned the High Court ruling delivered on November 9, 2023. The statement added that an appeal is a standard practice in the country's legal process and does not reflect any prejudice against any party. The Attorney General's chambers explained that the appeal was necessary to ensure that all legal issues arising from the decision could be scrutinised and ultimately decided by the Federal Court. On Wednesday, Syed Saddiq was acquitted and freed of all charges after the Court of Appeal unanimously overturned the convictions. In November 2023, the High Court sentenced him to a 7-year jail term and 2 strokes of the cane, along with a 10 million ringgit fine after finding him guilty of multiple charges, including abetting criminal breach of trust, misappropriation of property and money laundering. In Selangor, 4 men, including 3 Singaporeans, are facing the death penalty after being charged with trafficking 7.29 million ringgit worth of liquid cocaine at the Ampang Magistrates Court on Thursday. However, no plea was recorded as the case falls under the High Court's jurisdiction. The accused, Kong Sian Mi, Kwek Kian Seng, Tristan Chew Jin Jong and Ivan Tan Ji Shu, aged between 25 and 57, simply nodded in understanding when the charges were jointly read before Magistrate Amalina Basir Rahmat Top. They were charged with trafficking 9.42 litres of the drug near a hotel in Ampang at about 11:45 a.m. on June 19th. The court set September 8th for case mention. On June 23rd, Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department Acting Director Datuk Mat Zani Muhammad Salahuddin Che Ali said police had crippled the country's first known cocaine vape distribution syndicate following the arrest of 4 men.
Konflik Israel-Iran memberi rusah kepada dunia.
Kali ini agak berlainan sekali.
Dia orang taklah kebal. Kerajaan Iran tak akan jatuh dengan hanya serangan udara.
Masihkah ada ruang bicara? Atau dunia menuju sengsara?
Isu ini membelah negara-negara Islam.
Tempias dia memang sakit.
Bukan semua negara mahu perang.
Saksikan secara eksklusif dalam podcast utama Buletin TV3 di semua platform media sosial Buletin TV3.
Iran's supreme leader claims victory over Israel. The details when Nightline returns.
Ayuh kita gegarkan Johor Bahru dengan konsert Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nenas Malaysia. Saksikan persembahan hebat selebriti tanah air seperti Jacqueline Victor, Nabila Razali, Amir Ukais, Wan Mikeri, Azlan Typewriter, Drama Band, Tuju dan Lokabi dan ramai lagi. Dihoskan oleh Ayu Hot FM dan Hanif Miswan yang akan menggamatkan malam konsert kita. Meriahkan konsert Jom Heboh 28 dan 29 Jun ini di Padang B, Angsana Johor Bahru Mall mulai 9 malam. Jom, jom, jom!
Wanita hari ini.
Kasih sayang bukan sekadar pemberian material,
tapi keikhlasan dalam perbuatan.
Ketab nipah, ketab isi, ketab Alaska.
Pelbagai menu dapat kita hasilkan.
Jika ingin dihargai, belajarlah menghargai.
Bersyukurlah kerana pasti ada yang lebih susah daripada kita.
Ada kala kita merasa terlalu letih.
Keletihan melampau menjejaskan kesihatan mental.
Kuih tradisi, unik dan penuh nostalgia.
Ketayap kari 40 panggang boleh menggamit memori.
Semuanya menarik di WHI TV3.
Dan stream sekarang ditonton.
Action.
Ustazah, tolong saya Ustazah.
Kali ni aku yakin Abang Ria akan jadi milik aku. Padan muka kau, Mia. I memang bodoh. You dengan Mirza memang pelakon yang terbaik. Nah, Tanya, you menang.
Nak lagi drama-drama legend? Bayar RM9.90, lagi layan ditonton.
Kelak kau tahu perangai-perangai lelaki dalam wayang Jun ini. Kampungku dan Aidil Adha.
Satu markah siap seorang dipotong. Alah.
Pesona Ayah.
Aisyah kena bawa ayah merayap satu dunia, boleh?
Boleh.
Wan Tempe ke London.
Tempe Wan sampai ke London.
Sudu dan Garpu. Cari jodoh lelaki kelakar dalam slot wayang setiap Jumaat 1:30 hari di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
On to the foreign front. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Thursday hailed his country's victory over Israel in his first public statement 2 days after a ceasefire ended 12 days of the airstrikes earlier this week. In a statement and a televised speech, Khamenei congratulated his country's victory and vowed never to surrender to the US, while claiming that Washington had been dealt a slap and achieved nothing after joining the war. He said US President Donald Trump exaggerated the impact of US strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, adding that any future aggression against Iran would come at a great cost. In the meantime, a spokesperson for Iran's Guardian Council says it has approved a bill passed Wednesday by Parliament, suspending cooperation with UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency. Meanwhile, Zionist forces have killed at least 51 Palestinians across Gaza in attacks on Thursday. Authorities said Israeli air attacks killed at least 15 people in 2 separate attacks in Gaza City, including 9 people who were killed at a school housing displaced families in the city's Sheikh Radwan suburb. A separate strike killed 9 people near a tent encampment in Khan Yunis, while 3 other people were killed by Israeli gunfire and dozens were wounded as crowds awaited UN aid trucks in central Gaza. Israel's National Security Minister meanwhile called for a complete halt of humanitarian aid to Gaza, claiming that Hamas is taking control of the supplied food. At least 6 people were killed after floods inundated China's Guizhou province on Thursday as a tropical depression made landfall in the island province. Exceptionally large floods had reportedly swept through Guizhou's Rongjiang County since Tuesday. Floods in Guizhou have prompted authorities to activate the highest level emergency flood response, evacuating about 80,900 people. Tents have been set up to serve as temporary shelters for those who were displaced. Meanwhile, a tropical depression which made landfall in Hainan early Thursday is expected to move from the city of Wenchang across the island's northeastern tip, then head back into the South China Sea before making a second landfall in southern Guangdong province. Switching to sports badminton, the 2025 US Open. National men's singles shuttler Justin Ho enjoyed a flawless start at the Super 300 tournament, but it was women's singles duo Kay Letshana and Wong Ling Ching who truly stole the show in Iowa on Wednesday. World number 43 Justin faced little trouble as he needed only 27 minutes to dispatch Belgium's Julian Karagi 21-10, 21-10 in the opening round. Justin will be looking to maintain his strong form when he takes on Taiwan's world number 76 Liao Zhuofu in the second round. Earlier, Letshana and Ling Ching delivered outstanding performances to secure shock victories against their higher-seeded opponents. Letshana turned on the style to beat Japan's 8th seed and 2017 world champion Nozomi Okuhara 21-8, 21-19 after just 31 minutes on court. The world number 50 will next face Akarshi Kashyap of India for a place in the quarterfinals. Ling Ching meanwhile pulled off an even bigger upset by edging world number 30 and 4th seed Su Wenqi of Taiwan 21-17, 19-21, 22-20 in a 66-minute battle. Up next, she will take on Bulgaria's Kaloyana Nalbantova in the second round. Turning to squash, the 2025 Asian Squash Championships. It was a disappointing end for Malaysia after the national team settled for 2 silver medals in Kuching on Thursday. In the women's doubles final, top seeds Aina Amani and Yi Xin Ying were narrowly defeated in a hard-fought match, losing 11-8, 9-11, 10-11 to India's second seeds Joshna Chinappa and Anahat Singh after a 36-minute battle. Malaysia's hopes in the mixed doubles also ended in defeat as third seeds Mishan Raj and Rachel Arnold went down 9-11, 7-11 to India's Abhay Singh and Anahat Singh in just 28 minutes. India completed a clean sweep in the doubles events by claiming the men's title as well, with Abhay Singh and Valavan Senthil Kumar overcoming Pakistan's Nasir Iqbal and Noor Zaman. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we go, let's take a look at a 62-year-old French free solo climber who scaled a skyscraper in Barcelona to call for world peace. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching.